Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining today. My name is Tim Rotek, Director of Product Marketing here at Couchbase. Today, my session is Getting Started with Couchbase Capella. Let's begin. So real quickly, here's the agenda of some of the topics I'm going to cover. I wanted to level set because there are people who are quite familiar with Couchbase and others who are brand new. So let's give a little overview of Couchbase company and product. We'll then dig into Couchbase Capella overview. From there, we'll move on to how to get started, some key tips and tricks towards the end, and then we'll just wrap up the session. So let's begin with Couchbase overview. So when we talk to our customers about their challenges and what they're doing in terms of application development, there's a few common themes that we hear over and over again, and it really revolves around three areas. One is the desire to build great experiences for their customers to enhance their companies, enhance their applications, and enhance their business, right? And what does that mean is it's about really being able to give an experience where things are personalized and interactive and dynamic and mobile, and everything needs to be quick and responsive and dependable, right? So those are key criteria in the application delivery. In terms of development, some of the challenges that are faced are really about limited resources, right? In terms of having enough people and the right people. And so how can we overcome those challenges by accelerating what we're doing, tapping into our skill sets, making sure we're leveraging what we know, supporting best practices, and not putting data all over the place. And then thirdly is about deployability and making sure we're doing that in the right way, but also in a flexible way. And we can support them however they want to do that, from the cloud to the edge to mobile, right? And of course, it's got to be cost effective. So those are things that we are hearing from our customers. And again, in terms of themes, why do customers turn to Couchbase? Well, a few key areas, right? So the first one is typically their databases are not meeting the modern demands, whether that's scalability, availability, the low latency that they need. Another area that we commonly hear is the being able to deliver applications with the flexibility that they need to develop quickly, to be able to make the changes that they need, that their legacy databases are too locked in, especially in the relational scenario. Thirdly is they've delivered something on mobile, but it's just not getting it's not delivering the experience they want. So they want something that is richer for their customers and their clients. And then cost, especially again in the relational world. Our costs are out of control. How do we drive down total cost of ownership? So at Couchbase, in terms of customers and supporting them in the applications that they build, we work with a wide variety of customers across industries. And very common, it's what's happening is that we're helping them not just on like small departmental solutions, but very large mission critical, business critical applications, right? And in fact, 30% of the Fortune 100 rely on Couchbase every day. So they trust us with their data and building their applications. And how are we helping them? Well, the first area is developing faster. And how do we do that, right? So it's about delivering a wide variety of integrated capabilities that are built into the database, provided as services. So whether that be key value caching, the storing of data as a very flexible JSON database store, being able to query their database with SQL, or providing full text search capabilities and eventing on top, along with real-time analytics, and then additionally being able to do mobile, all within the Couchbase technology stack. So one of the things that we added recently, hopefully helping to speed up development and flexibility, is something called scopes and collections, right? Another way we refer to this is dynamic data containment. Essentially, previously to version 7, documents were stored in the database within a bucket, right? And that was kind of the main way of storing your data. We still have buckets, we still have documents, of course, but what we've added are 2 additional layers that provide more flexibility in terms of how the data is stored and maintained within the database, right? And if you look to the right in terms of what that means from the standpoint of mapping to a relational environment, scopes and collections have made it so much easier for organizations to bring data from a relational database into Couchbase and do a very direct mapping from their legacy system, right? It also improves with things like multi-tenancy, and it also makes it easier to manage data in terms of replication, and just makes it faster in a lot of ways to do indexing and a whole bunch of things, right? It gives more flexibility by being more finite. The other thing that's helping teams develop faster is the fact that we use SQL as our main query language to both access and manipulate the data, right? And we're leveraging ANSI SQL standards and providing very robust SQL syntax to do advanced things like nested objects and joins and so forth. So we'll expand on that. If you look at a relational query, here's just a simple join statement that you might be using. And if we compare that to a similar kind of query that you'd need in MongoDB to do that sort of activity, it's a lot more complex than what you have here. If you're looking at the Couchbase query language, what you're going to have is exactly the same thing, right? So developers that know SQL and teams that know SQL, so it could be analysts and DBAs and others within an organization that know SQL can all more easily work with Couchbase from the standpoint of understanding the query language, right? And SQL is a pretty powerful language in terms of being able to look at it and just see what's going on. Another key factor is the performance to scale of Couchbase. So not just great performance when you're working with one node, but more critically as you're deploying an application and scaling it out to make sure that your millionth user is getting the same performance as your first, right? And we're doing that leveraging our memory first architecture. There's no primary, secondary node. Every node is active, can read and write, utilizing asynchronous communication. So this allows us to get great performance and super low latency. And what you see here in this benchmark that was done by third-party firm Alteros, comparing Capella and Atlas and Dynamo, that as we scale, you can see that Couchbase performs much better in terms of the throughput. You can see that in the bars, but that's even more so when you look at the latency. So if you look at the right, latency there is logarithmic scale. So whereas Dynamo is about 50 milliseconds at 18 nodes, Couchbase is about 1 to 2 milliseconds, right? So really powerful in terms of scalability and low latency. Another thing that the customers love about Couchbase is helping them deploy everywhere. And a key technology that enables that is our cross data center replication, which allows us to do hybrid cloud, but really it's about putting data wherever it needs to be, right? And so whether that's for disaster recovery or just making sure that it's highly available, the replication happens. This can happen across data centers, but also within data centers between clusters. And it's very easy to configure and set up and just will manage itself. The other thing in terms of scaling up and having control and improving the evolution of your clusters is our multidimensional scaling, which isolates the workloads and optimizes them. So what that means is if I'm developing my application on a 3-node cluster, but then I need to scale it up to 50 nodes, as I'm doing that, I can choose my different services and put them on different nodes, right? So nodes that are, or services that might be more memory intensive will go to one machine. Others that are more processing intensive will go to another machine. So you have flexibility to put the services where it makes the most sense. both from a performance standpoint, but also from a cost standpoint. So for customers, when they're looking at Couchbase, I think one of the most critical decisions now is, where do I deploy and how do I want to do that? Do I want to use database as a service and have that automated and managed by Couchbase, or do I want to self-manage and leverage my team and my infrastructure and have more control? So it's a convenience versus control story. But since this session is on Capella, let's talk more about that. Capella is our database as a service solution. So let's get into Capella at this point. So one of the first things we need to talk about is database as a service, fully managed. Well, what does that mean in terms of what is managed, right? So if we're looking at different categories of tasks on the left, you can see design work and infrastructure and database management. And with Capella, pretty much everything that you're seeing here is managed by Couchbase Capella service, right? Yes, there will be initial design work and scoping and sizing work that the customers will do with Capella. Security is always, a shared responsibility and so forth. But most everything else is handled in an automated way here. The Couchbase Capella control plane is the UI for managing your clusters, managing users, alerting, billing, and all the kind of, it's the one-stop shop for managing the databases within your projects. A great feature that's important within Capella is the ability to very easily scale both vertically and horizontally. So in terms of horizontal scaling, that's really about adding a node. So if we want to grow our cluster, we can add a node in Capella. It will be as easy as selecting add a node, choosing the type of node that you want, and hitting done. And from there, the data is automatically replicated and scaled out across the new node with nothing more to do on your side. And no changes need to be made on the application side. It's all taken care of, right? Similarly, scaling up and down, within Capella, you can go and change the type of hardware that you're running on. So within the node that you're working on, if you want to increase the number of CPUs and so forth, you make that change and hit click done, and there you go. And same with scaling the disk size up and down, right? So it's very easy to scale your clusters within Couchbase Capella. Beyond that, then there's also performance monitoring. So a wide variety of built-in metrics within the interface allows you to come in and very quickly see what's going on, fully adjustable in terms of the metrics that you want on your dashboard, to give you a very easy way of getting insight into your clusters. As well, there are performance thresholds within the system that will put up notices and alerts to let you know when something's going on. And what that leads to then is recommended action. So not only does the system give you alerts of potential issues, and there are severity levels, so that as they get higher, they're changing color and making you aware. But more importantly, they're leading to recommended actions, which are telling you what is the next step that I need to do to resolve this issue, right? Do I want to add a node? Do I want to grow my storage? Again, making it easy to scale and use Capella. From a security standpoint, Capella plugs in nicely to your enterprise security strategy, right? So Couchbase, we've been working with large enterprises for over 10 years now. And in doing so, have a long history of high security with those customers. Capella is delivering on that, right? So making sure that the data is encrypted from the SDK to the disk, lots of different security controls in place to ensure from the user standpoint, the data standpoint, and networking standpoint that we're going to maintain a very secure environment within your broader security ecosystem. In terms of availability, here's the different regions where Capella can be used today, whether that is on AWS or Azure, and Google Cloud is the next logical partner for us to be working with, and that is coming soon. I can't give you any definitive timing on that, but we'll just say we're working on that, and we know that that's important. In terms of deploying for customers when they're ready to develop and deploy and scale their applications, there are 3 different tiers with Capella in terms of choices for the development or for deployment, right? And what we've tried to do is make it flexible from a cost standpoint and a capability standpoint to deliver for customers the choices they need in terms of getting up and running and scaling to whatever limits they want. Okay, so how to get started? So the first thing I recommend in terms of getting started is starting the free trial. So you've probably heard in Scott's keynote the mention of our free self-service trial available today. Go to the couchbase.com website, click on free trial, and set up an account. Super easy. Just sign up. Go to you have to verify your email, of course. Go to the first page. Choose deploy in our cloud. Choose the Couchbase cloud account, hit deploy now. You have to pick your region. You have one of 3 regions to choose from, and then begin. And when you come into Capella, there's many helpful items in the kind of the getting started area for you to kind of build up your knowledge, including a welcome video and a step-by-step getting started guide that I highly recommend you use because it's got code snippets and a lot of information if you're not familiar with Couchbase. So just wanted to give you a few screenshots or images of what it's like once you get inside Couchbase and you spin up your first cluster and you log in. When you get into Capella, the first thing you'll want to do is load a sample data set. There are 3 sample data sets included. You go into Tools, Import Data, select any one of the 3 or all of the 3. From there, you have a lot of choice of how you can look at and getting access to your data. This is the Query Workbench within the Tools menu. Essentially, the simplest way to run SQL queries against your data. And within the interface, you not only can run your queries, but you can choose whether you're going to be running against a certain bucket or a scope of your choosing. You can look at the results in the table, plain text, or you can look at the plan to see how that query is doing. You can also use the advise command to try and understand what you might do to improve those queries in the future. Another tool that's available to you is the document viewer. So when you're in the document viewer, you choose the bucket you're in. And again, scopes and collections now make it easy to break down the type of documents that you're going to be looking at or which documents you're going to be looking at. So you can choose your scope collection, you can change your limits and offsets, and you can do some, without doing full SQL queries, you can look up your documents either by their document ID or by a where clause. So it makes it very simple to go through and look at your data, even if you're not going to be running a full query. Also included in the self-service trial is full text search. So within full text search, what you'll do is you'll be building your indexes. These are essentially reverse indexes that are built against the documents in in the database. And once those indexes are built, you can then go and run your searches upon them and see the results all within the full text search service. Okay, some tips and tricks. Some recommendations. Getting started guide. So again, I highly recommend that, and the link is available from within the control plane when you sign up for your trial. Click on it. It'll take you to our documents, our docs website, and there will be a self-guided trial that will walk you through all the basic things that you need to do in terms of with code snippets. It'll explain about the query service, the indexing service, full text and key value. It will talk about, there will be bits about using the SDK and other playground tools and things like that. It will talk about connections and how to connect your endpoint. So if you want to connect from another application to Capella, you can do that. All of that will be explained in the Getting Started guide. So that's a great place to start. Also, within the doc site, there are other tutorials as well. If you're looking for more information about our SQL-based query language, SDKs, data modeling, a lot of information there, as well as our Couchbase Academy. So Couchbase Academy, a great place to start to learn more about Couchbase with free lessons that are available today. And then finally, in terms of questions, if that information is working for you and you're all set, that's great. If you have questions within the control plane UI, there's a direct link to the Capella forum. So any questions, I would recommend going in and taking a look there. Maybe someone's already asked the question that you have, and the answer might just be waiting for you. And of course, you can use the Contact Us form to reach out to us, and we're very responsive with that mechanism. So that's another option to if you get hung up on any particular topic. And so wrapping up, why Capella? Getting started with Capella is easy. It's as easy as SQL to start, right? It's fast, it's simple. SQL's a very well-known query language, so you'll be able to get up and running very quickly. Developing with agility, meaning that in terms of all of those services that I highlighted, you'll be able to get access to those within Capella, and really will make your development experience easier. And finally, you'll see using Capella even within the trial, where it's a trial deployment and it's a small limited scenario. I think you'll be very happy with the speed there. And as you deploy and scale, the efficiency of Capella is really going to help drive down TCO. We're very confident in that. So just wanted to say thank you once again for joining today. I hope you have found this session informative. Sign up for your free trial. Either go to couchbase.com/Capella or just go to the homepage and look for the free trial button. Thank you very much.